Hello and welcome to Coffee with Cow. My name is SHEILA and I'm the Study Abroad Coordinator at Learn International. And today we have Gretchen Hinkel. Gretchen, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Great. We're excited to have you. Gretchen is pretty special. She's on the Learn team and she's an intern at Learn. So we're pretty excited to hear what she has to say about being an intern during the now. For those of you who are unaware, Coffee with Cow is a podcast that aims to capture and share stories from students such as Gretchen or other international educators in the industry. For those of you who don't know, Cow is our Learn International mascot who travels everywhere we go. So let's get started, Gretchen. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I actually am a teacher. I've been teaching for 6 years, and I just kind of decided that I wanted to switch into international education. So I found this internship through a listserv, and I was super excited when I saw it, and I just kind of thought it was like the perfect opportunity to gain experience in international education and just kind of see how a different company operates. So I was really excited to go to Ireland. I was super bummed that I didn't get to go, but I'm happy that I could still have the opportunity to do the internship virtually.
Yeah, so you said that you initially wanted to do an in-place internship in Ireland, and then you did a virtual internship. So walk us through the process of what happened from doing a placement in Ireland to changing it to a virtual placement.
So once like COVID really hit and they kind of started to get closer to the time when I was leaving, it just kind of seemed more and more impossible for me to travel abroad to Ireland. So I was in contact with Michelle, and she told me about the opportunity to complete this internship virtually. And I really hadn't even thought about it, but I was really excited when she told me that it was an option. So she kind of walked me through the steps on what I would be doing and just kind of how we would go from there. So I was nervous when I signed up. I was worried that I would miss out on like a lot of like the cultural aspects of being abroad, which I'm sure like obviously still that's the case. Like I'm sad that I couldn't get to go see different parts of Ireland, but overall I feel like the cultural aspect in a virtual internship is still there. There's people from all over on the Learn team, and so it's been like really fun just talking to people who are from a completely different place than me, or even like for instance SHEILA, like we don't live in the same place even though we're both from the United States. So I think it's been a really great experience.
That's good to hear. For those of you who don't know, Michelle was our internship coordinator. So she's kind of in charge of placing interns as well as on our Learn team. So she was the main contact for you, Gretchen. But she's kind of the head honcho of creating all these virtual internships during the COVID crisis. So Gretchen, let's talk about your virtual internship setup. So like you said, we're kind of all over the place working remotely right now, but what is it like for you while you do your virtual internship from home?
So I actually am just part-time. So when I start off, I join the morning meeting with everybody, which is great to be able to talk to everybody. They really do a good job of like checking in and seeing what everyone's up to. And then from there, I kind of just get my to-do list and I just go through what I have to do for that day and what I need to do to be prepared like for the rest of the week. I will say, I think that going into the internship, I didn't think I would have as much work to do as I actually do, but I'm really happy with the workload because I feel like I actually am needed. Like I feel like with some internships, you're kind of like these people are making stuff up for me to do, but I actually feel like the work that I'm doing, I can see where it's actually going. So it's a good feeling, and I feel like it's been a good amount of work.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I hear that too. Is internships kind of fine? They might feel lost in the company, but it seems like you feel like you're part of the team. Would you say so?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's great. So the main office is in Ireland, and there's some colleagues still working in Ireland and some across the States. Do you find time difference to be an issue during your internship?
At first, I'm not gonna lie, I got kind of confused just with like, oh shoot, is my meeting at like 9 in the morning or is it at 10? But then I realized like on our calendar, if you open it up, it shows you the different times. Like it's like 3 p.m. in Ireland, which is actually whatever time here, I don't even know, 10 a.m. or
Yeah.
something like that. And so like it gives both times, and
Mhm.
that has been super helpful, because it was kind of a little bit, at first I was like, shoot, like I'm 15 minutes late to a meeting because I just like didn't realize the time difference.
Yeah, that could be kind of confusing. I feel like I have a time swap app on my phone because I'm always forgetting, like, oh, it's 6
Oh,
hours or 5 hours. I forget what it's called, but there's an app that lets you know the time difference in the time
that's
zones.
smart.
Yeah. I want to hear about maybe some benefits that you find that you might not have known about or even thought about when you started your virtual internship.
So I would say like definitely the cultural aspect, and just learning the ins and outs of a company that operates like across the world. I think I still have learned a lot about the business structure, even though I am not actually in the office. I actually almost think maybe I've learned more, because when you are virtual, you have to like set up a meeting. So when you set up a meeting, you're kind of forced to talk for a certain amount of time, just because it's not like you're stopping by someone's desk and just asking them like the one question that you might have.
Mm.
You're actually on a call. So I feel like I maybe have even gotten more information than I would have gotten had I been in the actual office.
Oh, interesting. That's a good point. I
Yeah,
guess I
so
never
like
really thought of it that way.
yeah, so like I've had like some questions for Michelle, the internship coordinator, and or that's, I don't know if that's her title or not, but
Yeah, yeah.
but for Michelle, and I feel like if I was in the office, I would just maybe stop by her desk and just ask her that one question, and she'd give me an answer, and then I'd go continue on with my day. But when we have to schedule a meeting to ask, we kind of like get into more stuff, or maybe go into more details, just to make sure I don't have any questions about what I'm doing later.
That's very true.
So
That's
I think that
interesting.
has been a real benefit.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like it. You mentioned earlier about the cultural aspect of an internship, and I know internships you go into maybe to develop professional skills or finish an academic requirement, but largely an internship that's internationally based, you want to gauge a lot of cultural experiences in the office and outside of the
Hmm.
office. So you said you have some cultural experience. Can you elaborate more on what that's been, or have you had an
Hmm.
opportunity to explore more of Ireland in the office and outside as well?
So each week, which I kind of have an interesting perspective on this, I think, because each week for the interns, Learn puts out like a newsletter that kind of goes through different things, and there's always a cultural piece.
Mhm.
But because I feel like because of the time when I started, I'm one of like the first virtual interns that Learn has had. So we've been building the newsletter. So I get to see the newsletter once it's actually put out and produced, but I'm also helping to produce it. So, for instance, Michelle made a scone making video, which was fun to just watch how do you make Irish scones. And then I actually had to edit the video for it. So I got to see the whole process. And then I actually also saw it on the newsletter. So I was able to see it in that way as well. We've also just like even just talking during our meetings, I feel like we always get on conversations about like just the differences, like what do you call, or like even something silly like this morning we're talking about like what does the ice cream truck sound like for you?
Mm,
And like we always get off on different like random things that it's like, oh well, okay, I still am getting the cultural aspect because we're talking about the differences. Um, and I think that has been really helpful.
yeah, that's good to hear because a lot of the hesitancy about virtual internship is the lack of cultural experience. But I'm glad to hear that you're experiencing it and also developing, like you said, newsletter for current interns and future interns as well.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
so on
also
the newsletter, it kind of like goes through like all sorts of different. So we're talking about different places in Ireland
mm,
and different traditions. And so I think for somebody coming in, they're able to get like, I mean, obviously it's not the same thing, but a little bit of a
mhm.
grasp from, especially the people who are in Ireland. They can show you that it's like actually legit, and it's not just like something that you look up on the internet.
Definitely. I just think that that cultural aspect of the newsletter and virtual internship is just making the best of what's going on right now, because, you know, all these study abroad experiences and internship experiences were taken away, and the industry is trying to develop a new idea and a new normal for what study abroad looks
Mm-hmm.
like during the now. Do you see virtual internships becoming the new norm in international education, going through it right now?
I hope not. I hope that in the future that people are able to travel again. Just because I think that I was in a different situation because I'm a teacher, so I'm free in the summer. But if I had other things that were going on, I think I'd be more hesitant to accept a virtual internship, just because of the differences between the two. So I think for the normal now, it's good that virtual internships are out there, like for this semester and maybe even the spring semester. But I'm hopeful that in the future it'll go back to the way that it was.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do think the virtual internships could be a good option for maybe like students who don't really have access to travel or opportunity to go. I think that could still be a good option.
Yeah, definitely. I just think that it makes the internships more accessible, like you said, to those that
Definitely, yeah.
there's restrictions in the way, whether it just be finances or time, like
Hmm.
you said. Like now is a great time for you to go abroad, but some might not
Right.
have that available time. So yeah,
Hmm.
definitely, I agree with what you're saying.
Hmm.
Gretchen, this has been great. Thanks so much for your time. I really
Yeah,
appreciate your insight, your outlook, and what you're doing right now during a virtual internship. So thanks for being here today.
of course.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all listeners as well for tuning in for this Alumni Adventures podcast. You can find this podcast on our Learn International YouTube channel, as well as on our social media platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn with hashtag LearnINTL. And once again, Gretchen, thanks for your time, and we look forward to our next guest on Coffee with Cal. Take care now. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.